Hey everyone, Scott here, and I've got a few minutes, so let's look at a Bible. And today it's the Pocket Bible. This is a paperback KJV from the 1940s. It's abridged, edited to be more readable. It's kind of a reader's edition. And I think for the time it probably would have been a much more portable option compared to most Bibles. I wouldn't necessarily call it a pocket Bible by today's standards, but it's certainly something you could take with you. They indicate on the back it's small enough to fit in a pocket, maybe if you got a large coat, and yet physically easy to read. It contains a considerable portion of the Bible, and it is the KJV. It's also /RV, but we'll get into that. And they note that they haven't changed any of the wording. It's just simply been rearranged, edited, and parts have been left out to make it fit the constraints of a small paperback. Let's go ahead and have a look inside. We see this came from a vacation Bible school from a church in Battle Creek, Michigan. Somehow found its way to me. I think I found this at a thrift store. I think I paid about $1 for it. It's offering a representative selection from the Bible for literary purposes. So not something that was meant for serious study. And this one was printed in 1943. It's copyright 1941. Some quotes praising the Bible from various sources. Probably recognize some of those names if you're into literature. Our table of contents, we've got Old Testament. Got a little bit from the Deuterocanonical apocryphal books here. We see Susanna and the Elders, Ecclesiasticus. New Testament, of course. And here we see that it was made in compliance with the government's war effort, restricting the use of certain materials, and we're encouraged to buy war bonds. Of course, this is from the World War II era. And here's an introduction to this edition. It tells us it's small enough to fit in a pocket and contains the pure gold of the Bible. May not have all the best loved passages, but most of the best loved passages and stories are here. It even includes some works from the Apocrypha, like Susanna and the Elders, which they say are so well known that many people think it's from the Bible itself. Of course, that's a very Protestant point of view. If you are someone who includes that in your canon, you would say, well, it is from the Bible. The only large omission is the Book of Esther. They said it was too long to really shorten, and they just didn't feel they could include it. They've also cut genealogies, repetitions, certain minor prophets and epistles, and Chronicles 1 and 2. And then the remainder was sorted through, edited, and the results are sitting here in my hands. And they said on the cover it's a King James version, but what we find here now is not entirely. It is a King James version, except in the case of Proverbs, Job, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs. And they say here, quote, the rendering of the revised version is admittedly superior to that of the authorized. They don't explain why they feel that way, but that's interesting because revised version is very hard to find. So this is the closest I have to having one. A few more pages, and we're in Genesis. We have like no right margin there, but I think that's just common of the time. Paperbacks were very cheaply produced, and they just didn't have the technology to mass produce things like we do today with the same level of accuracy. But it's well printed. It's good reading Bible. We don't have verse numbers. Do we even have chapter numbers? No, we do not. That is interesting. I hadn't thought about that until now. So yeah, it is very much in the form of a kind of novel reader's edition. It's unique in not having the chapter numbers. I've got other Bibles that are kind of like reader's editions, but they do have chapter breaks. But yeah, it reads nice. The paper's gotten yellow with age, but very opaque. The only thing I don't love is the poetry layout. It's in italics. So any kind of poetry, song. The whole of the Psalms is in italics. It's not terrible, but it's not my preference. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's about all I can really tell you about it. It's kind of straightforward beyond that. It is a very interesting Bible. I appreciated picking it up and getting to check it out. And I hope you enjoyed seeing it too. So, I will mention it's 6.5 inches tall, 4 inches across, about a 3/4 inch thick. So compare that. Gideon Pocket Bible, obviously a lot bigger. Obviously, this doesn't have anything in the Old Testament except Psalms and Proverbs. But if we compare it to something more recent, here's a Cambridge KJV I previously reviewed from the 1970s, I believe. More or less the same size. And this is a complete Bible with a full concordance, references, and many other goodies. It is still one of the coolest things I've picked up at a thrift store. And again, one last comparison. Here's an NLT from Tyndale, about the same size. The NLT is a bit thicker, maybe closer to an inch. Anyways, if you have anything you'd like to share, if you enjoyed this, please leave me a comment. Give it a like if you found it informative or entertaining. And if you'd love to see more of my videos, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching as always. God bless. Have a wonderful day.